Hey, this is Sean with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And right now on the podcast, we want to hear your story. So go to letsgotennis.com/my story. You type in my story because it's your story. Anything fun happened, exciting, whatever it is, come to the website, come to letsgotennis.com/my story and tell us your story. We want to hear it. We want to share it on the podcast. You can be entered to win one of our monthly giveaways, and we might share your story on the podcast. Today is 10 minutes of tennis, and this is 10 tennis tips in 10 minutes. Justin Yo, today is the forehand, and you and I agree on this. We're going to start with a bonus tip, and this is more of a philosophy that you and I agree on. Your first statement here is just grab a racket and hit a ball. What's that?
Grab a racket, hit a ball. I mean, one of the first things on every lesson, I have someone just hit the ball. As soon as you have them hit the ball, you can already pick up on the things that they already can do and the things that you want to progress on. That way, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to make everybody the exact same because it doesn't work that way. And grip wise, there's not everybody with these extreme grips, and if you can teach them with an Eastern or with a semi-Western where they're just learning to close the face, already doing something naturally with their hands, why would you then go and reinvent the wheel? So, I think sometimes people get too caught up on the grip and it creates tension. It creates all these things that don't happen now. And now the player could take longer to progress, and your job is to progress them as fast as you can. That's what we're paid for. So elasticity is everything. Patrick Toglu says it all the time. I'm a really big fan of his because finally someone's talking about the elasticity of hitting a forehand. It just really is key. So anyway, don't want to take that's another tip
I was
for
going
you.
to say, you're giving them away now. We're giving them away
I'll give it a
under the
little away.
philosophy. All right,
So
so
anyway, that's to do with the grip. Just pick up the racket, hit the ball, and then work on it from there.
there you go. And your coach can find out what you do
Yeah.
naturally. I think that's really the target there. So 10, now we have 9 minutes
Yep.
for our tips. So number one tip, what is the right grip, Justin Yo?
That's it. The grip is the way you hit the ball. Like if you can just hold the racket, hit the ball, have a good look at them. If they're closing the face, then they've obviously got the grip slightly around. Can they then control the ball and move the ball around with that grip? That's really the key to the grip. Eventually, as they get better, and it depends on the player, right? I've seen players that are very advanced and they're two over here, and they're going to be 6'8". If they're 6'8", why are they hitting with an extreme grip like this? They can't come forward, right? Or they can't take the ball on the rise and take it all early. So there's a lot of things that factor into the grip. And I think it's best to see what kind of player it is, what kind of player they're going to be, where they want to progress, and make sure the grip coincides with a lot of that. So
There you go. Number two, and I'm not sure how this relates to the forehand, so catch me up here. Reading the player's racket.
yes, 100%. A lot of people. I've seen so many people with a bad late forehand purely from not watching the other player's racket, from their perception of reading the ball. When they're not reading the ball, their split step is off, their contact point is off, their backswing and preparation is off. All these factors are off purely for the reason that they're not reading the other player's racket. So I put that at the top of the list because sometimes you can totally fix someone's forehand just by getting them to read the other player's racket and read the ball.
Get ready sooner. I like it. Now, along those lines, number three,
Yep.
ready stance and split step are crucial for this preparation, right?
100%. If you don't have an athletic base and you're not in a decent ready stance, there's no way you can prepare correctly. There's no way you can be ready for the variation of the balls. And then, again, can totally affect your forehand. So, yes, preparation and ready stance is absolute key.
And aside, shameless plug, of course, this is the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, so I can plug whatever I want. But today, this afternoon, goes out, publishes the Know Your Athletic Base
Yes.
episode replay on the audio only. So check that out where you get your podcast. Number
Awesome.
four.
Be in the balls of your feet, not in your heels.
Yes.
Balls of your feet.
Well, you covered all that. We got that.
Yep.
Number four, the non-dominant arm is huge component.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It helps with the unit turn. It helps with the preparation. It helps with staying in an athletic base, right? It helps with space to the ball. It helps with all of those things. It helps if, as an advanced player, if you're turning your left arm and really turn like the players do, it gets your load in the back rear end. So then you're ready to drive into the ball. But the non-dominant hand also in the ready stance holds the racket nice and loose so that your right hand is loose, right? So non-dominant hand is a critical component to the ready stance, to the preparation, to the whole thing. Balance, stability, all of it.
And that leads us to number 5, which you say is the key to the whole preparation, which is the unit turn.
100%. I will say it right now. If anyone's listening, I will kill somebody if they keep saying racket back. Please, I do not want to hear those 2 words ever, ever again in this sport, right? It destroys a tennis player's preparation. You know, they're only hitting from here now, right? They're not generating properly. They're not learning what the normal forehand is now. And so no more racket back. I mean, I remember back at Castlebrook incoming back in 2000, 24 years ago with Sean Boyce. And I was telling everybody, sit on the toilet, rotate, and hit a forehand, right? Little kids, turn, sit on the toilet, hit a forehand. Something simple.
Yeah, there you go. So no more racket back. We're moving it to unit turn. Number 6, grip tension.
Yep, grip tension, 100%. Again, something you can just, like, you can see people doing it. If they're too tight all up the arm, and they're going to contact late. They're going to push the ball. They're going to decelerate. They're going to stop on contact instead of finish. All can, because of the grip tension, which then comes back to the non-dominant hand. If the non-dominant hand helps hold the weight of the racket, this can be a lot looser, which then creates elasticity.
Elasticity, we like that word. Number 7, wrist cock.
Yep, wrist cock as well. I see a lot of time a racket, we now get a unit turn, but the wrist is straight versus cocked, right? And then I see some people cocking this way, which is not helping because that's helping you come down on the ball. They really have to learn what a wrist cock is. So they really learn, get it back towards the back end and really cock the wrist and learn how to utilize it. It's really a big factor now in learning how they call the drag or the lag on the forehand. If you haven't got a wrist cock, you can't learn to generate like that.
And forgive the firearm reference, but a wrist cock then prepares you to pull the trigger.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. All right, number 8, fluent swing in one rhythmic motion.
Yes, so I talk a lot about keeping the rhythm of your swing, and that way you can stay elastic. And if you can think about keeping it, so if the ball's coming fast, it's short, but it's all in one. If it's ball's coming slower, you've got a bit more, but it's all in one. I commonly use, which you guys can use it if you want, it's called the roller coaster. When you see a roller coaster, it comes up, doesn't stop, and then it goes its fastest at the end, but it keeps going. It doesn't stop. So roller coaster I use a lot just to make people understand what their hand and racket is supposed to be doing.
I like the roller coaster. I use kind of a clock where I say you can go fast if the ball's coming fast, or you can go slow around the clock if the ball's coming slower. So similar concept there. Number 9, forward swing is a priority.
Forward swing is the priority. Most people spend more time thinking about the backswing, which is, again, racket back, and I hate it because they think about racket back. Now, if you think about the brain and the processing time between racket to racket, you don't have time to think about racket back and backswing. What we think about and should be prioritizing is what is my forward swing doing to hit that ball coming, and then my direction as to where I'm going as well. So there's only so many processes you can do. And if you're constantly thinking back here, you're going to be late, or 2, you're going to be commonly doing the same thing all the time, when actually the focus should be up here. So forward swing, if you focus on it, can make things easier to strike the ball and learn to get better timing.
That makes sense. And the last one, we're going to stop after this because I know we can keep going forever on these. But the last one, number 10, you want the contact point in front and both hands level. What do you mean with that?
Okay, so contact point is always in front. If there's anything You can go to all the top players ever have played this game. They all have the same contact point out in front, right? So that's one thing we all know. But what we don't know, when they slow down and look at the best players, both hands tend to be level on contact. This hand is not up here and not back here. If you look at like tennisplayers.net or so, there's so many great online sporting tennis resources now, and you'll see on contact point, usually both hands are level on contact.
There you go. That is 10 tips, actually 11 if you consider the first one, but we're going to start
Yeah.
calling it at least 10 tips in
Yeah.
10 minutes. Justin Yeo, world renowned tennis coach, Australian in Puerto Rico. This has been 10 minutes of tennis, 10 tips for your forehand, the most efficient 10 minutes of your day. Justin, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Nailed it. Enjoy, everyone.